What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're back with just a few updates for Destiny 2. So this week we got a new update for the game and of course, Lunar New Year items from Eververse, and it looks like some more small updates are yet to release, including a new emblem, so we'll talk about that, and we'll talk a little bit about Riven's Wish rewards, a way to preview exotic armor rolls before you pick them up, but also Bungie talk about activities and how the coil in Season 23 is a blueprint for some of what they want to do in the future, where of course the game director has recently indicated that Bungie still have plans to support Destiny for many years to come. So we'll cover that, and we'll talk about a D2 dating simulator, which Bungie made internally. Plus we'll go back to some interviews with Joe Blackburn about episodes and what we can expect there. Not a major news week at the moment, but we'll round up what there is, and as always, I hope you enjoy it. And now let's get into it. First up this week, of course, we did get a new patch. We covered the patch notes for that yesterday. Nothing groundbreaking, although Bungie did fix an issue where players could damage the boss through the glass wall in the Star-Crossed mission, which I think is actually the third time they've patched that, so lol. We'll see if it works. But otherwise, of course, the Lunar New Year items are now available in the Eververse store, so most of those are silver purchases, although there is the free Bright Dust that we covered in the video yesterday, be sure to pick that up. However, the other component of the Lunar New Year celebrations in Destiny is the new Risen emblem, and Bungie had said, we plan to make this emblem universal for all players as we get closer to Lunar New Year, and I believe that is this weekend actually, so we can probably anticipate Bungie give us some more information about that one in the next couple of days. Otherwise, Riven's Wishes 2 came out. I've got a video with all of the chest locations if you still need to work on that, but Agent Zero Hour on Reddit did point out Riven's Wish exotics don't have random stats. They actually appear to change on a weekly basis, and you can preview the rolls using DIM or something like D2 checklist. So if you just take a look at Morro and the Riven's Wishes menu, you can see all of the stats currently available on those exotic armor pieces, and when you pick them up, those are the stats that will roll. So maybe just an extra component to look out for, or even if you're not running Riven's Wishes, might just be worth having a quick look each week in case there's a much better roll than one you have potentially. I guess it's always a possibility. On the subject of Riven's Wishes though, it is worth keeping in mind that while Bungie haven't explicitly said a lot of these items are available for free-to-play players, Riven's Wishes do allow players to pick up the exotics from the Lightfall year without actually owning the expansion or the seasons. So just something worth thinking about there, and perhaps if you hadn't pulled the trigger on running those quests if you are a player without Lightfall, it's certainly worth keeping in mind that the exotics don't require the expansion, so that's a pretty good shout there. And then in terms of future objectives, very quickly, we've now done the Ascendant chests, so for week 3, there's a requirement of 1,600 combatants in Legend or Master Lost sectors, with week 4 seeing completing Tier 3 Blind Well and 1,500 targets in the Blind Well, week 5 being defeating 80 taken bosses, and week 6 requiring a completion of the Prophecy Dungeon. And so the objective's perhaps not as high stake as Bungie initially sort of indicated, but more than anything, just a bit of an over-the-top grind, I suppose, but give us your thoughts about those down below. Up next though, another quick mention here, and Bungie developers indicated that they'd actually developed a Destiny 2 dating simulator internally. So this is from the game post here, and they say several D2 developers and media outlets discussed details about Season of the Wishes narrative. But during the Q&A, staff designer Clayton Kisko mentioned that the team is happy with the positive feedback they've received from the community on the new activity, and they added that the team is considering the possibility of introducing more activities similar to the coil as they're eager to continue exploring the concept. But they also went on to say that the teams at Bungie had actually experimented with a dating sim game, and the lead narrative designer at Bungie, Jonathan Tu, revealed that the company had created experimental games including dating sims during game development jams. And those are these sort of fun internal challenges where the teams actually work on something other than Destiny. But it turns out there is some kind of a dating simulator that has never been released, probably created for fun, but obviously something that we'll never actually get to see or experience. Although I'm sure if Bungie were to announce something like that, it would get some very mixed and interesting feedback. Nonetheless, it was likely a relatively simple project, as the article points out here. But give us your thoughts about it down below. And last week, of course, we heard about Joe Blackburn stepping back as the game director for Destiny 2 and being replaced by Tyson Green. A lot of folks probably haven't seen Tyson Green before, but he has appeared on occasion inside of Bungie Vidocs and has posted sections of Twit updates and things like that. So perhaps someone who is less front and center than Joe Blackburn was, at least in terms of outward communication, but they also reiterated that they look forward to such opportunities years of the final shape and the years of Destiny beyond that. So Bungie are still sort of hammering home that their intention is to keep Destiny alive and receiving new content updates for many years to come. And that isn't necessarily the narrative that's floating around in the community, given general sentiment at the moment with the delay for final shape. But naturally, there's speculation about what someone like Tyson Green may bring to the table, and Tyson's worked on a whole bunch of Bungie stuff, many of the reward systems and questification for Destiny, but also before that, Halo 2 and 3, as well as Forge. So Tyson Green is without a doubt someone who's very competent at creating systems in these kinds of video games, but I'd imagine we probably will hear more from Tyson Green in the near future. And regarding future content drops, Joe Blackburn, at some point after Lightfall was announced, did have an interview, and talking about episodes, he did say that having 3 of them in a year allows them to do larger cohesive stories, and it indicated that they learned a lot in the past 2 or 3 years with the seasonal model and how they can do things better. And the article points out that each episode will include 3 acts with new quests, story, armor, weapons and activities, and that Bungie were committing to create a new exotic weapon and mission every single episode for the first 3 episodes at least. But there's still a big question about the future of expansion level content beyond the final shape, and Bungie haven't specifically said what their plans are there, but Joe Blackburn did add that we're not trying to scare people into believing that Destiny 2 is going away and the support for the game isn't ending. But also internally, Bungie are trying to stay focused on what's in front of them and not necessarily turn the conversation into the next 2 years or so. They also said that inside of episode releases, we should expect to see a mix of old and new characters. And what they specifically don't want to do is tell stories where the only way you can enjoy them is if you have a PhD in Destiny lore. So they're going to be connected to the wider sort of universe and existing story of Destiny in a different way perhaps to what we see with seasons right now. They've also interestingly spoken about Marathon, and they discussed the narrative that emerged that Bungie is sort of ignoring PvP, and a lot of the PvP focused people are working on Marathon instead. And Blackburn had said if we have resources and mines that could be put on a problem, that's not a thing that we're afraid of tackling. And we do also have some legacy talent elsewhere, but while some of those folks are off doing awesome things that's needed for the future of the company, no one is afraid of going over and speaking to them and saying, hey, can you come and play this new thing or help us with existing Destiny content? And he said there are no 10 feet walls at Bungie where we're not sharing or nurturing that talent. So just some general insights and overview of how Bungie are looking at the future of the game. I'm very curious to see what kind of info we're going to get in the coming months, all of the pre-final shape updates and stuff that will come beyond that. But for today, guys, that's what we have to speak about. As always, when we do get more word from Bungie, I'll keep you posted. So get subscribed, hit the notification bell, and also if you've enjoyed the video, a rating below very much helps us out. But otherwise, give us your thoughts in the comment section, and cheers for tuning in. But otherwise, I hope you guys have an awesome day.